What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'll be taking you guys through my transfer plan for the upcoming single game week 24. So yes, single game week 24, the first single game week we've had in a while, but don't worry, all the blanks and the doubles are just on the horizon, so we'll get back into the swing of things with those more exciting game weeks. Now in terms of double game week 23, don't worry, I haven't simply forgot about it. I know that we still have the Liverpool vs Everton game tonight, as well as the Man City vs Arsenal game coming up on Wednesday. But we still can plan for the future game weeks, and I think I'm going to plan more for game week 25. You guys know the blank and the double combination game week. And I'll show you guys at the end of the video my plans for the upcoming game weeks. But I'll be taking a look at how we're currently getting on in double game week 23. Are we getting a green arrow? Is it a red arrow? And how has that hit kind of affected our overall rank? I'll then move on to the kind of context of game week 24 before talking about the transfer plan, and then finally going over my future plans. So that's something you guys are interested in? Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So double game week 23 has not concluded yet, don't worry, we still have 2 fixtures and I have about 6 options from Man City and Arsenal still to come, so hopefully that final game is going to be an absolute banger. But unfortunately double game week 23 so far has not been a banger, currently sitting on a red arrow of about 38k places, with the total points currently being 48 with a -4 hit, so 44. So only the 2 transfers used, so a -4 hit going to the deadline, and I'll talk about those moves a little bit later on. Now as you guys can see in terms of the transfer plan, bottom right hand side, 1 transfer and 1 million left in the bank, so not that much of a significant upgrade can be made. But let me know in the comments down below how you guys are getting on for your double game week 23. Chances are if you started Luke Shaw, going to be pretty happy with this game week. Unfortunately, I wasn't one of those managers. So going on to my bench, and there you guys can see a lovely 12 points, perfectly placed. The Man United fullback started off at centre back, but moved to a fullback where he managed to get an assist, and then United also got the clean sheet. So starting off with Danny Ward, I'm going to bring in Kepa right now because we can kind of debate this decision. We have Kepa against West Ham away, only the 2-point appearance, whereas Danny Ward managed to actually get a save point. And he obviously faced Spurs. No ways that I think that Danny Ward would get more points than Kepa at the end of the day, unless they ended up winning, which I wasn't expecting as well, 4-1. So Kepa finally getting outperformed by Danny Ward, but I'll take that as Kepa's been pretty good to me over the past couple of game weeks. I mean, in terms of Luke Shaw, nothing much more has to be said about that. In terms of my defender positions, you guys will see when I talk about my defense, no ways are going to play Luke Shaw over any 3 of my defenders. And even my midfielders and attackers, there wasn't a place for my starting 11. Now, if you guys did watch the game, I think that Leeds was slightly unlucky not to score. And if you guys are on the stats side of things, Leeds basically had an XG of 2 in that game. But I know football's played on grass 100%, so if you guys did start Luke Shaw, well done. But I'm pretty sure you guys were forced to, and it wasn't kind of a choice of rotation. Then we had Greenwood who came off the bench in that Leeds fixture, and then Patterson who has the Liverpool game tonight, and I'm hoping to see if he has made a recovery to the squad, but I don't expect him to. But now completing our kind of defensive department, going to start off with Ben White. Didn't actually make the move of Ben White to Gabriel, didn't think it was worth it, as I did expect Ben White to start that first game. Now he started the first game, but what ends up happening, Arsenal concede. And yes, it was an offside goal, but I guess everyone does own an Arsenal defender, so no points gained or lost there. Now I did actually think that Ben White had a pretty strong game, and if they did keep the clean sheet, would have been in the bonus points debate. So that's a little bit unlucky at the end of the day. Now yes, he does have the Man City game coming up, and I think that he should start that fixture, as he is definitely still first choice. Now this game week was actually quite a weird one, because you always talk about Ben White getting rotated, coming off early, but in this fixture he wasn't subbed after the goal, and that actually came back to bite us because he only got 2 points. So yet another example here of why an early sub for a defender isn't always bad, as he could have locked in the clean sheet. Talking about kind of late subs, early subs, going to move on to Nathan Ake, who was subbed on for actually our other option, Riyad Mahrez, late into that fixture against Aston Villa. Now Man City did lose the clean sheet, so even if he did start, would have actually ended up on 2 points. So not that mad at the end of the day, but there was a glimmer of hope when he was benched against Villa that maybe Luke Shaw could come off the bench if he didn't play any game against Arsenal. Now was that realistic? Probably not. I think that Nathan Ake might be one of the first names on the team sheet against Arsenal, as I do think he's the best Man City defender. So 1 point gain there over him starting the fixture against Arsenal only, so quite happy with that. We then have Kieran Trippier with only 2 points after conceding to Bournemouth. A little bit unexpected. They already thought that Newcastle had the clean sheet locked in, and was even hoping for multiple attacking returns potentially from Trippier. So this does hurt, because if we didn't have Trippier, we would have obviously had Luke Shaw in our squad. But now that you guys see my back 3 of 2 double game week players and Trippier against Bournemouth away, now you can understand why I did bench Luke Shaw against a Leeds side that just scored 2 against United less than a week ago. So it is how it is in FPL some days, but as I said, if you guys did start Luke Shaw, probably look at a green arrow. Now moving into our midfield department, and let's start off with the transfer in. I'm going to classify this as my hit for the week, because it does look slightly better if I do classify Riyad Mahrez as a hit in, because he managed to score 12 points against Aston Villa. Now this could have actually been more, missed kind of an easier chance late into that fixture, but because he did take the first penalty, which was a little bit surprising, I'm not complaining about that one. So yes, you guys heard that right, Riyad Mahrez on penalties, ? Probably not. I think that even Pep said after the game that Haaland's the first penalty taker, so I don't really know what happened with Haaland still on the pitch, and I don't really know the reason why Riyad Mahrez actually took it. But I'll take it at the end of the day as an owner, especially when he did outperform Kevin De Bruyne in that fixture, as he was my other consideration for a transfer in. So super happy with Riyad Mahrez, on great form at the current moment, and I was happy to take a little bit of a punt as most kind of people are saying don't transfer him in. I'm then going to move on to the red side of Manchester, the United assets, Rashford and Fernandes. Pretty disappointed with Bruno. The F in Fernandes definitely stands for fraud, because if you guys did watch that fixture, was one-on-one with the goalkeeper and missed a really good chance early on in that fixture. So I needed Bruno to score because he has become a little bit of a differential. Most managers actually shifting him out for Kevin De Bruyne for this game week, so him ending on 3 points is a little bit disappointing. Whereas with Rashford, continuing his scoring run, but everyone kind of owns him, and if you guys don't, I don't really know what the excuse is. Now, final two options was another transfer in for this week and one transfer in last week. It's going to be Odegaard and Bukayo Saka. So brought in Saka for Martinelli. I'm not going to classify that as a -4, but that could have been the head transfer, and I thought it was worth it at the end of the day. So luckily, Saka got an attacking return, 6 points currently. Martinelli ended on 3, so I just need Saka to outperform him by 1 point in the next fixture. Odegaard, on the other hand, pretty quiet game overall from those Arsenal assets. They have been pretty disappointing since I did bring them into my squad. But this Man City game is absolutely massive for both sides, especially after Arsenal dropped points against Brentford. Now moving on to our forward department, and we're going to start off with Erling Haaland, our captain for this week. 4 points in the first game against Aston Villa. Didn't take the penalty, which is a little bit surprising, and what I will say is if you guys did triple captain Haaland, I think you guys are very unlucky. But I guess you do have some hope. The fact that Haaland was only taken off as a precaution in that Aston Villa game, was subbed at half time if you guys don't know. But with Man City leading 3-0, I think that's a little bit understandable. Now if he does score against Arsenal, then you guys will be in dreamland, as long as he gets more points than he did in game week 20, which is going to be those 8 points. But still, everyone kind of captained Haaland. His effective ownership was around 200%, so no positive gains there. Now the final option to talk about in our starting 11, my disappointment was immeasurable. It was going to be Harry Kane against that Leicester side he loves to score against. So we spoke about this result with Danny Ward, but nowhere did I expect Leicester to win this game 4-1 as they did, and Spurs looking so spineless going forward. So unfortunately, Harry Kane, our differential, almost quite highly owned, but still points were going to be positive gains from him. So a 2-point appearance was really bad in a low scoring game week. Now will we shift them on? I'll talk about that in the future. Come game week 25, might be hard to not resist the Mo Salah and Darwin combination. But that's going to kind of wrap up our game week 23 review. 6 players still to come. That Arsenal vs City game is absolutely massive, and hopefully all my options start and get me points. But let me know how you guys are doing in terms of game week 23. Do you have any Liverpool players featuring tonight? Any Everton options? And how many options you still have left to play in that Arsenal vs City game? But the most important thing is let me know if you're on a green arrow or a red arrow, and who was your star player of the game week. But now going on to our current Game Week 24 team selection. You guys know I love giving you guys context and background of what the current team selection is before I talk about my transfer plan. So bottom right hand side, 1 free transfer and 1.0 million left in the bank. So as you guys see the team selection in your mind, plan a transfer, and maybe it's going to be the same transfer I do for this game week. Now I'm going to start off on the bench, and I'm going to talk about the goalkeeper debate first. Going to bring in Kepa to show you guys which fixtures these goalkeepers do have. I think it's quite an obvious choice here. Kepa against Southampton at home, who have just sacked their manager. New manager bounce ? Hopefully not, and hopefully Kepa gets us another 10 points. Danny Ward against United. I have 2 United attackers, definitely not going to play the Leicester goalkeeper, so for me this is an easy decision. Now Greenwood is not going to feature against Everton, and Patterson I'm hoping he's back because I do need him for double game week 25. But going on to Nathan Ake, and the reason I'm actually benching him, I want to bring up our defensive department to show you guys the current dilemma I am having with my bench. So as you guys can see, Ake against Nottingham Forest was definitely a great fixture on paper. Then we have Ben White against Villa away, Luke Shaw against Leicester at home, and finally Trippier against Liverpool at home. Now I know what you might be thinking, Trippier against Liverpool at home, that's a little bit of a tougher game on paper, but Liverpool have been terrible away from home. We then have Leicester just scored 4 against Spurs, they could score against United obviously. Then Aston Villa have also been pretty strong. So yes, Nathan Ake does have probably the easiest game on paper, but I do worry about some potential rotation. And to be honest, I still trust the likes of Shaw, Trippier, and also Ben White. But this might be a little bit of a dilemma going down to the wire, so tell me in the comments down below who you would start, and if it is Nathan Ake, who would you bench? But another added point to this kind of benching dilemma is the fact that I think that Ben White, Luke Shaw, and Trippier, all 3 should start their respective games, whereas Nathan Ake might have some rotation in before that Champions League. So just add that to your kind of dilemma list, but let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. We're then going to move on to our midfield department. I'm going to start off with Riyad Mahrez. Just hope that he does start this fixture. We spoke about with Nathan Ake the potential Champions League rotation, but I honestly even take 30 minutes of Mahrez off the bench. We then have our two United assets, Rashford and Fernandes. I really do need Fernandes to score in this one, or at least assist, get us some attacking returns, because I need him as a differential. Marcus Rashford, not really worried about him, probably will score in this game like he has in the previous fixtures, but everyone tends to own him. Then finally, our Arsenal double up of Odegaard and Saka. I do believe this is the best kind of double up. We saw Martinelli subbed around the 60-minute mark. That just kind of makes our predictions true and expectations of him true, whereas Odegaard and Saka should get the majority of minutes. Now, Aston Villa is a tougher game, but we've just seen Leicester score a few against them, City score a few against them, so hopefully Arsenal do the same. Then finally, in terms of our forward department, currently my captain, Erling Haaland, yes, he does at Nottingham Forest, might be rotated like Mahrez and Ake, but still, if I do think he'll get the majority of minutes, I'm going to start him as my captain. Then finally, we have Kane against West Ham at home. Like Fernandes, I do need him to score in this one to justify my patience with them, as they both might be transfers out going to blank game week and double game week 25. Now, I just want to touch on some other potential kind of captaincy options. We might actually go for Marcus Rashford if we don't think that Erling Haaland is going to play the majority of minutes, especially now that we have had this injury scare. Now, Pep will 100% want to keep Haaland for the Champions League, so that's why Rashford might actually be an attractive option. But we'll be discussing this in the Ultimate Guide and the team selection coming up later in the week, so make sure that those bell notifications are on so you guys don't miss a video. Now, heading into the transfer plan for the upcoming game week, and you guys might have seen the team selection in the prior talking point, but the team for game week 24 looks pretty respectable. We even are benching Nathan Ake, so if one of our options does get benched, we can always have him off our bench, just hope that he does start. So in terms of the team for the upcoming game week, my honest kind of early expectation is to bank a transfer, and that's why it might be a pretty boring game week because I'm pretty sure you guys are going to bank a transfer as well. The upcoming blank and the double is too hard to resist. I think that I will save a transfer going with 2 free transfers into next game week. But if I was to make a transfer for free, and I might actually justify doing it for free because it looks slightly better, is taking Ben White out and bringing Gabriel back in. So yes, we haven't escaped the kind of sideways Arsenal moves. We haven't left them in double game week 23, they've entered into 24, and this might be a move I consider. So if I do have any kind of doubt of Ben White starting against Aston Villa, I will do this move to Gabriel. The reason for this is obvious. He's kind of a more nailed asset. We've seen Ben White get rotated. Yes, he might not have in the Aston Villa game, but I reckon against Man City we'll yet again see Tomiyasu come in about the 60-minute mark. I just feel like Gabriel might be a better option. Every time I see a corner, I'm worried about his attacking threat, and that's why for a free transfer this might be worth doing for the long term. But let's just see how the Man City game goes. If Ben White looks pretty strong, then I'll probably just keep him, but otherwise this might be an attractive transfer. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys are doing a transfer, if you're not banking a transfer like the majority of managers, let me know what transfer that is, and how's that prep for Game Week 25 going? Now the last talking point I want to go over is going to be a shout out to Fantasy Football Fix and their Chrome extension. They're calling it FPL Plus, and I want to reiterate that if you guys do your planning on a laptop or a PC, this is definitely the extension to get for all you FPL managers. Now I'm going to show at the top side there, FPL Plus will remain free until early into next season whilst in beta. So yes, you read that right, a completely free extension that you guys can get. All the projected points, all the good stuff is going to be free from now till then. So you guys really have no excuse and don't worry about kind of privacy. Fix has always been at the forefront of your security and therefore no information is shared from your profile. Now you guys can navigate to the planner page once you guys do have the extension. If you guys don't have the extension, you won't see the planner option. This is simply provided by Fix. So now going on to the actual planner, I'm going to stick with draft 1 and I'm going to show you guys what I'm currently dealing with. So as you guys can see, it's going to be the team as it was in the kind of talking point previously. I've put Nathan Ake on the bench and I'm going to stick with this starting 11. So captaincy could change, but currently it's going to be on Erling Haaland, and that's going to be the team for the upcoming Game Week 24. Now if we scroll just above, I want to show you guys the kind of selection that you guys can look at if you want to look at your team selection for the upcoming game weeks. The first one is going to be the standard combination, what you guys see on screen right now. The next one's going to be the fixtures. You guys can see that the black is obviously a blank fixture. Then the prices, which are going to show you the current selling price. Then finally projected points. Now I'm going to stop on projected points for a moment because as I mentioned in the previous transfer plan last week, you can really use this for your benching dilemmas. And as you guys can see, Nathan Ake projected to score 3.1, whereas the rest of my defenders are projected to score more. So this is kind of an in-field review of their projected points. So if you guys do want to use that for your benching dilemmas, go ahead. But now let's skip ahead to Game Week 25, the blank and the double. Let's sub in Nathan Ake, let's sub in Patterson, even though he might not be back for the upcoming double. And that's going to leave us with Luke Shaw and Fernandes in our starting 11 that do blank. Now in terms of my transfer plan, honestly I probably could transfer out Harry Kane and Fernandes at the moment, and you guys probably know who's going to come in. So let's bring in the midfielder of choice. It's going to be none other than Mo Salah in that midfield department. I know Liverpool aren't playing well at the moment, but they do double, and he might be the captain of choice. Then fulfilling our forward department, it's going to be Darwin Núñez if he is going to be fit and firing. That's going to leave us with some money in the bank for another upgrade. So now you guys can see on screen one blanker in terms of Luke Shaw, and he might be a transfer out when you guys do look at the fixtures. So upcoming, yes, he has Southampton at home, pretty good game, but then Brighton and Newcastle away are tougher games on paper. So we could also take out Kieran Trippier, has Man City in Game Week 26, but after that, a pretty nice run, and that's why I do prefer to keep Trippier over Shaw. So if we were to take out Luke Shaw, let's just say we'd want to get a full starting 11, have enough money in the bank for an upgrade, but we might actually go for a cheaper option. So taking out Luke Shaw in our defensive department, I'm going to bring in Tarkowski from Everton. Just a nice cheap option. Yes, this is going to be a from minus for it, but it's worth it because Luke Shaw does blank. That's going to give us a full starting 11. So let's save the changes and go back to Game Week 24, and that's going to summarize the kind of planning tool. So if you guys do want to get it, link in the description down below, completely free and pretty useful. That's going to basically wrap up the video, guys. Hope you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for the upcoming ultimate guide and team selection coming up later in the week. Otherwise, good luck for the rest of double Game Week 23. But I'm sorry, it was Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.